going on, guys? We're out in the wilderness today, back for another episode of Ask Eggy. And today we're going to be covering a topic that I know has been very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. A lot of questions on this topic over the last, however long since I've been around, just because a lot of people have this off-the-cuff, knee-jerk reaction to me and what I've said before, especially, thinking that I'm basically this horrible kissless virgin that, has never even looked at a woman or anything. But the fact is, that I had my first intimate relation with a woman when I was 18 years old, and that was about 6 years ago now. So people want to know, how did it happen? What's going on? How did this guy, who people think looks like a deformed Down syndrome, potato, lesbian, whatever, get some pussy? Well, I'll tell you, okay? It all goes back to that time. It was 2010. I had just gotten out of high school, and it was that summer. Now I was, I graduated actually a little bit early because I went to this alternative school, and basically I just kind of got forced through it because they said, well, you're not a gangbanger, you're not a criminal, whatever, so we're just going to kind of put you through and whatever. So I actually graduated 2 months early, and so I got out of school and I'm playing World of Warcraft every day. It's whatever, it's just having a good time. I was still out of my house at the time. I'd experienced that house fire, so I was still out of the house at the time, living in a relative's basement. And I would just go, basically just wake up every day, get some Mountain Dew, get some snacks, whatever, have something to eat, get back on the laptop I had gotten, play some World of Warcraft. That's what I was doing. So time goes on, and this was actually, it would have been probably August of 2010, if I recall correctly, because I didn't move back into what would then become my house until the end of July in 2010. That's when it was, re-inhabitable, after it had been renovated, rebuilt, whatever you want to say. So, let's see. So yeah, I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft. That's pretty much all I did. I was applying to McDonald's, applying to Walmart, getting denied. My parents were getting on my ass all the time. They're saying, you got to do something. You get a job. You can't be just laying around playing World of Warcraft every day. And I was freaking out, whatever. But there was a guy who I knew, who was really big into Magic the Gathering and a lot of other, various games, kind of in a similar situation to me. I think he did have a job, if I recall correctly, but he was living in his mother's basement. But there was a girl who he had become acquainted with. She had just moved into our area because we have a tech school that's in our area, and there's no real student housing for this tech school, but there's some apartments that are, or I should say, actually a few apartment buildings all right around it that are kind of geared towards students, rent controlled, low rent, low income or whatever, but it's not like a sleazy area. It's pretty generally a nice area. So anyways, so he goes, oh yeah, hey, this chick, blah, blah, moved over here. And, I had a Facebook back at that time, back 2008 to 2012, I had Facebook. So, she actually added me on Facebook first, and she sent me a message. She's like, oh, hey, how's it going? What's up? I heard you like the World of Warcraft. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much all I do. And, thinking to myself, I don't know, I've never had any positive interaction with a woman before, really up to this point. So I'm thinking to myself, I guess, do I kind of play it off? Do I just be real about it? What's the way to go? So but she was actually really into it. She was really, and this had a lot to do with the fact that everything kind of worked out, so to speak, in the end. And she was really kind of forceful about the whole thing, really kind of, being the one to talk, where I was kind of just sorry, I'm kind of flipping the camera around a little bit here as I'm getting chewed up by bugs out here. So she was kind of, always being the one to instigate, which really helped me, and it kind of helped my confidence a little bit, because I was like, it was just so unusual to me for this to happen. And, she was not bad looking at all, so I was like, okay, this is pretty slick, pretty legit. So we talked about World of Warcraft a lot, over instant message, and, she would kind of talk about how, she had this apartment that she, was living in by herself, and, one day it kind of just came about, she was like, oh, hey, do you want to come over and play some World of Warcraft? Bring your laptop over, and we can kind of hang out. And I was like, okay, hey, sure, why not? So I was definitely a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. Didn't really know what to expect exactly. So I went out, and I, got some Mountain Dew with my little bit of money I had. I went out, got some Mountain Dew, some Cheetos, whatever else, the normal stuff I was going through back then. And I had my mom pick me up, or I should say mom take me, give me a ride over to this girl's apartment. And so I went over there, and she was probably about like 5'6", 5'7". I'm gonna flip around here, heading back out of the wilderness. It's about 5'6", 5'7", something like that. You know, a little bit thicker. I wouldn't say she was really fat, but definitely thick. And you know, so it's kind of, we just kind of sat. It was really awkward at first. Like, I did not know how to. I was kind of just like sitting there, like, oh yeah, hey, you know, I was being really nervous. You know, I was really nervous, really anxious. I'd never, you know, been in a situation like that before. Really going over to meet a girl, especially. You know, anybody knew, you know, well, that was just kind of nerve-wracking. A girl by myself. You know, it was like, you know, really anxious, really nervous. We just kind of talked about stuff. You know, she kind of told me what she was doing. You know, why she was in the area, what she's going to school for, stuff like that. And I kind of told her a little bit about myself, tried to make it sound good, but, you know, I was kind of just, you know, in my zone of being, you know, really kind of isolated and playing a lot of games and stuff. So we hung out, and I went back, you know, didn't stay over there. I went back. My mom picked me back up later that night. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, you know, felt really cringy, felt really awkward. But she ended up hitting me back up on Facebook again, like, oh, hey, you know, had a good time. Let's hang out. And because we didn't really play any games that first time, but she said, hey, come back, you know, bring your laptop over and we'll actually play some games this weekend or something. You can stay over Friday night or whatever it was. So I'm okay, that sounds cool. So, you know, go over there, have mom bring me back over there again, get some more pop, get some more snacks, have mom bring me back over to her apartment and chilled out there for the night, you know. I found out, you know, this is something I've come to find out by a lot of girls or a lot of people that have anxiety. They like to smoke a lot of weed. If they're anxious, it kind of like helps calm them down. So she was smoking weed, smoked a lot of cigarettes too, and I smoked at the time too, so that wasn't a problem. So I'm going and smoking cigarettes, a lot of, you know, I was chain smoking cigarettes, playing WoW. It was really fun. I really had a good time because I like smoking. You know, I still don't have anything against it. I just, you know, don't do it anymore. But we had a good time, and I stayed over, slept on the couch. Got up next morning, I'm like, oh, hey, you know, my parents are calling me up, like, hey, you know, glad you're, you know, socializing, but you got to do some more job interviews, got to be working on that. So go back. I actually walked back, I think, to my parents' house, like my backpack, just left the snacks and stuff over there, and carried my backpack and stuff, my laptop back over to my parents' house. It wasn't really that far away. It was probably like a 30-minute walk. So, I mean, you know, I just chose because it was summer, it was hot, you know, I didn't want to walk there because I'd be there all gross and greasy and stuff. So anyways, I believe if I remember right, you know, we did this a couple more times, go over there, hang out, just kind of chill, play World of Warcraft, shoot the shit, you know, whatever. And it seemed to be kind of a friendly engagement, you know, just friendly type stuff, you know, not anything more serious at all. But there was a guy who she had been dating before. It was kind of like her ex now, you know, and he wasn't really feeling the whole breakup thing, so he ended up like showing up or he would like be calling her phone and stuff, you know, like I'd be even when I was sleeping on the couch, like her phone would be on, you could hear like buzzing, the guy would be calling, and he'd be like, oh, take me back, please, stuff. I ended up kind of knowing this guy a little bit because he was such a beta that it was like people all around just kind of knew how much of a beta he was. I felt bad for the guy because, I mean, he wasn't bad looking, he wasn't really weird or anything. He just didn't know, you know, he was really just beta with women, like really would like get down and like kiss their feet, all kinds of stuff like that. So, you know, this guy's calling a couple times. One time he showed up and I had to like hide because she didn't want him to like have like a freak out. But, you know, the one that I was over there, probably like the third time we were hanging out playing World of Warcraft together, this guy, he's like calling her and she's basically just like telling this guy, fuck off, don't ever call me again, don't want to talk to you again, blah, blah, whatever, and cuts him off. She's just really pissed off. And, you know, I'm just hanging out, you know, having a cigarette, you know, chilling, whatever, and I'm about to head off to bed, about to go to sleep on the couch, whatever, and she's like, oh, hey, you know what? You don't have to sleep on the couch. You can come sleep in this room tonight, or in the bedroom tonight, or whatever. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm not going to deny that, you know, whatever. You know, immediately I was like, my body was like kind of like numbed up a little bit, kind of tingling with all the anxiety. I'm like, oh shit, you know, what's this about? But I didn't want to like, you know, I didn't expect anything more, you know what I mean? Like coming from the kind of situations I'd been in before with women, I didn't want to anticipate anything. But so get into the bedroom. We got Adult Swim on, playing some King of the Hill or whatever it was, you know, that. But I do remember what was on, you know, after the point, or, you know, at the point. It was Aqua Teen Hunger Force was on, and she was laying there, and she had a shirt on, but it was, you know, wasn't wearing any underwear, or wasn't wearing a bra, I should say, and just wearing her panties, and she's laying there, and I can see, you know, I can kind of seeing some stuff, but I'm, like I said, I don't want to instigate. I don't want to be, you know, I was like, oh, I'm not instigating. There's no way. You know, I'll put my hand on her boobie, and she's gonna fucking like freak out and like get me thrown out or have me arrested or whatever. I was like, that's all I could think about. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So, and she knew that I had never been with a woman before at this point, but you know, we're just laying there in bed, and she's kind of like giving me this look, kind of like this like devious, like grin and smirk and stuff, and I'm just like, I kind of look over, kind of smile, but like all, you know, I'm not trying to like be, you know, like a sexual, you know, super slayer. Not really trying to be, you know, suave or anything, just kind of chilling and whatever. I'm just kind of like to put my eyes back on the TV, and before I know it, she just grabs my hand and puts it on her tits and kind of was like rubbing them around. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I think that's a green light. So I kind of just get into it, and before you know it, you know, sex was occurring. Basically, you know, it just kind of started to snowball from there, and it'll be my first time. I hear this a lot too. If you're like anxious or nervous on the first time, you last longer. I mean, I went for like almost, I mean, we had to take like water breaks, smoke breaks. It went on for like about 2.5 to 3 hours that night, and yeah, I mean, it was probably a big changing point in my life. I don't like to say that sex is like life changing, because people who are virgins or, you know, whatever, they think that sex is like the cure all to like all their problems. Like as soon as they have sex, everything's gonna get a million times better. Everything's gonna like just become perfect and wonderful, which is not the case. You know, but it put something in me, like a new kind of confidence. You know, I felt, you know, all these years I'd been like this big huge loser, you know, whatever, and this was kind of something that showed that, you know, I had, you know, it showed that I could like do more, like be, you know, like a normal person. I wasn't going to be like a freak or whatever for the rest of my life. And, you know, so it went on a few more times, you know, following that initial time. You know, we did some other stuff. I like to just hang out with her, and she ended up, you know, I asked her, since we were doing this stuff, I'm like, well, you know, since we're doing this, does that mean you're going to be my girlfriend now? Because that was like, you know, that was like the next level. I was like, I wanted to have a girlfriend, so I could be like, for sure that, you know, I'd be like a normal, well-adjusted person eventually. Well, we know how that turned out, but she told me, she's like, oh my God, no, just because we're having sex doesn't mean that I'm going to date you. I've had sex with like 20 girls and like 10 guys, and, you know, I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, I just, you know, I wanted to help you out, you know, and I wanted to, you know, and I was horny or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't take it bad, because I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, hey, whatever, you know, I'm getting mine, you know, no strings attached, hey, whatever, it's all cool. And then she ended up dating this other guy who was like way more like Chadley. He was like, you know, really like a robust, strong, tall guy, and but we still kept on hanging out for probably like, you know, a year and a half after the fact, just because, you know, we still like to hang out, still like to play some World of Warcraft, you know, chill, whatever, just have a good time, have some laughs, whatever, you know, it was a good time. But the guy like was like freaking out about it, like, oh, no, you fucked him, oh, no. And so we stopped hanging out. I can't remember if they got married or I don't follow that shit anymore. And I tried to fuck her friend too, but that bitch was way crazy. That went on for like a year. That'd be something for a whole nother video. That bitch was off the rocker for sure. She has like 5 kids now from like 5 different guys. And that was probably like 5 years ago, but yeah, she was getting knocked up by random guys, fucking on other guys. Well, I mean, not the chick that I was with, but her friend was fucking crazy. But yeah, it's basically just how it happened. Met a chick over World of Warcraft, basically. She made like all the moves on me, so cause, like otherwise it never would have happened. And then you know, showed me the ropes a little bit, got me a little bit of education on that respect. You know, went on, and that's how it happened. So that's how I became a filthy, normal fag scum who got some pussy. You know, just went from isolated autist to basically being like coached. Although the one thing was that she basically freaked out on me one time and tried to say that like I was pregnant, or she was pregnant with my kid. It was a bunch of bullshit. It like blew over in like 2 weeks because I found out that she like poked a hole in the rubber I was using, and then or some other shit, I don't know, but I don't know, some crazy, but not relevant. You know, it all blew over within like a couple weeks. So yeah, that's the story. There it is. So I hope you guys answers any questions that you may have had about that, and otherwise I'll catch you guys next time.